our session. Today we're talking about the 2025 Nigerian tax law and how it affects freelancers, creatives, and small business owners. Like I was saying, that if you work in a 9 to 5 organization, you already have the accounting team, the tax team. They are able to just, help you decide what should be yours and what shouldn't be. But as a freelancer and a small business owner, you literally don't have these people at your disposal. So I have brought in two experts, an expert lawyer and a relationship manager who knows so much about the tax law. There's been a lot of everybody confused about what the tax law is, what it entails, and who should have what. So I'm going to briefly introduce my speakers, and then we're just going to dive right into it. So I have with me here Osemudiamen. I hope I called your name well. I've never tried
Well,
to
you
call
murdered it. You murdered it, but don't worry. I'll allow it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So Osemudiamen is a Nigerian lawyer, a senior legal advisor with over 8 years experience with guiding executive teams, boards, and institutions. He holds a LLB from the University of Benin and a BL from the Nigerian Law Institute. So it's good to have you here.
Thank you, Karen. Thank
I'm
you. How
very
you doing?
excited because I know that you're very vast in this sort of things. I have with me Ibitola Daniel. Daniel, thank you for joining. Daniel is a relationship
So
manager
good to
at
hear you.
Providus. He's a relationship manager at Providus Bank, PLC, with experience of supporting individuals and small businesses through client relationship management, business advisory, and tailored banking solutions. Daniel holds a degree in linguistics from Ekiti State University and is passionate about business development, financial literacy, and educating small business owners. So you guys, you are in good hands today. You are in good hands. So we're just going to get right into the conversation. Please use the comment section. If you have any questions for our speakers, please make use of the comment section. We're going to have a question and answer session as well. So we're going to open the floor for people to be able to ask their questions after the conversation. But as the conversation is going on, please use the comment section and ask your question. So I'm just going to dive right into it. I'm going to be asking at intervals. So I'll go with you first. Who in your own or under the law, because I know you're a lawyer, who qualifies as a taxable person under the 2025 law?
Okay. So, basically, under the 2025 law, if you're earning money in Nigeria, you're most likely a taxable person. From any angle, anyone who earns money from work, businesses, or investments, if you're a freelancer providing services, if you're a creative selling your work, if you're a small business owner, running any kind of trade, if the money is coming into your pockets from your skills or business, the law says you as a taxable person. Now, it doesn't matter if you're registered or not, or whether you work from home or not. Income is income. So that automatically makes you a taxable person. Obviously, you must be above the age of 18 and all of that. Yeah. So, that makes you, as long as you're earning income, you're taxable.
So I'm gonna Daniel, before I come to you, because I feel like this should segue into it, I'm gonna ask you, sir, for Nigerian residents earning foreign currency from international clients, you know that's like a thing now. We have software engineers, we have people who earn from international product managers and whatnot. For people like those, does the 2025 Act enforce taxation on worldwide income brought into Nigeria? What is the legal test? The legal test
Okay.
for
So basically, what classifies you as being taxable in Nigeria is if you are resident in Nigeria. There's something called the residency test. And if you're in Nigeria for 183 consecutive days, or within any 12 months period, you're a tax resident. So if you're in Nigeria and you're earning, even if you're earning from abroad and all of that, as long as you are within the country, you are considered, that income is considered taxable under Nigerian law. So the only respite towards it, regardless, is if in the instance where somebody might want to ask if you're being taxed from the income that is coming in, if you're being taxed from there already, wouldn't that amount to double taxation and all of that? Well, there are tax treaties Nigeria has with a lot of foreign countries. So if you are contracting, or if you're earning from a country where Nigeria has a tax agreement with, ordinarily that tax deducted from your money can be treated as credit and obviously deducted from what would be further taken from you as tax in Nigeria. So that's the best way to go about. If you're resident here, 100, at least 183 days, and then in a country that has tax treaties, that will be removed from it. However, if there is no tax treaty, you would still be required to
You'll
pay
still be
that
required to.
tax. Yeah, in Nigeria here, as long as you're a resident here.
Awesome. People are joining. Thank you everyone for joining. If you have questions, please drop it in the comment section. We're going to do this for like 40 minutes and then I'm going to open the floor for people to be able to ask their question one-on-one, for people to be able to speak based off what the speakers have said. So, Daniel, let's go to you now. How does the tax office determine liability for freelancers, creatives, and small business owners? Like for me now, I'm kind of in the entertainment industry, and there are a lot of people here in the entertainment industry, and I'm sure they will want to know how they are determined liable for tax.
All right, thank you very much, Karen. And I'm so happy that you are giving me this opportunity to share something like this. So especially business owners, business owners, 9 to 5, freelancers, content creators that are, many of them that are actually still in the place of complexity about the tax regulation of 2025 and how it applies to them. How does it really affect them? How does it really affect their business? So when you're saying how does the tax office determine their liabilities for all of these people, the first thing is that it's the tax office that determines the liability based on the income earned. All right. So I think the lawyer was mentioning something about you look at the income you're earning from whatever you're doing as a content creator, as a freelancer, as a 9 to 5. All right. So looking at the income here now, the income is not it's not the total amount that you have generally you've generally gotten from whatever you sold, but removing from your liability from the taxable business expenses that you are going through, after removing all of those stuff, then what remains is the taxable profit. All right. So when you are doing a business that you are earning 500,000 per year, and at the end of the year, that is your gross income. And
Yeah.
at the end of the year, you've actually spent over 200,000. So your net income is 300,000. So it is from 300,000 that is your taxable profit. All right. So the profit is not just earned without you removing the net profit itself. So after removing the whole expenses, the business expenses, everything you have removed, what is left is the taxable profit. So the tax office determines that. The tax office determines your taxable profit as the tax itself. So that is where your tax is coming from. So that's how it goes.
Awesome. Thank you very much for making it simple, because I feel like one of the major problems is that there's just a lot of information and it seems complex. So that's the whole point of this, to make it simple. So if you're just joining, we're talking about the 2025 tax law and how it affects freelancers, business owners, people in entertainment, creative, small business owners. And I have here with me Osemudiamen, who's a lawyer, and Daniel, who is a relationship manager at Providus and has a lot of insight about tax. So I'm going to ask you this, Daniel. Are there exemptions or thresholds for small business owners, startup freelancers from paying tax? Are there exemptions for them?
No, there isn't any exception. Just that the freelancers, as long as you're making profit, all right, as long as you are doing any of these things, you have your business as a freelancer, as a content creator, as a freelancer, definitely you are earning from whatever content you're receiving. You're selling out yourself, you're selling out your content, you're selling out, be it music, be it art, be it entertainment, and all of these things. So they are not exceptions or no, because as long as you're earning, and if your business is registered, not just earning alone, if whatever you're doing is registered under the Corporate Affairs Commission and you're having a TIN, that's a tax identification number, then definitely you are not exempted from this threshold. So that's how it works.
Okay. I like that. Okay. So also I'm gonna go to you now. Please feel free to ask your question in the comments. We'll answer them, and then in 40 minutes time we're going to open the floor for anyone who has anything to add to our conversation. So what are the legal implications for not registering or not having a team for a
Okay.
person? Yeah, who's
Okay.
earning?
So basically, your tax identification number for either yourself or your business, basically your license, your tax license, basically, is it's required to identify you or your business as a taxable entity, and so not having one of them, especially for not having a thing for your business, is like operating without a license, and then it becomes an issue when eventually you're found out. So there are a lot of legal implications in the instance where you do not have a TIN. There are fines and penalties. The NRS, what was previously called the FIRS, now known as the NRS, they can impose financial penalties on you for not complying. It's not having a TIN nowadays will not even enable you to open a corporate bank account. So it is necessary to have a TIN before you can open a bank account. So if you say, for example, you want to open a bank account with Providus for your business, you'd be asked for your TIN, and without it, you cannot go beyond that stage. You cannot bid for certain contracts with government entities without a TIN. And there's also the issue where if your business doesn't have a TIN, then it's also safe to say that you've not been paying taxes. Now, if you've not been paying taxes, and when you are eventually caught, or when the government finally finds out that you've been operating for a while without a TIN and obviously not paying taxes, you will be required to pay back taxes. That means you'll be required to account for the funds that you've made over the period where you didn't have your TIN, and then you will be required to pay interest on top of it. So you might as well just, go ahead, procure your TIN, take assess yourself at the end of the year, remit the taxes from the profits you've made at the end for the entire year, and obviously minus deduction, and then just avoid the entire issues, because there's a whole lot of problems that can come with it. There's the back taxes plus interest, there's the fines and penalties that might come in, and it's really not in your best interest to do so. So it's really for your benefits to have, as you're incorporating a business, as you're starting, even if you're working as a freelancer, you must ensure you have your tax ID. You must ensure you have your tax ID, and then you must use it going forward for every endeavor. And when you are filing your tax with the necessary authorities, that tax
Yeah.
ID will identify you, and then would be for use later on to avoid any form of issues with the Nigerian government.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to come back to you, but I want to ask Daniel now. So what are the step-by-step ways? Just give me a little breakdown, step-by-step, of how somebody can register as a freelancer. For example, you're an actor, you're a freelancer, a small business owner. How do you register um, um, your TIN? How do you get a TIN registration, Daniel?
Okay, the steps to get a TIN is not there. It's not difficult. It's not complex. It's quite straightforward, and it's quite very cool and swift. Now, from the Federal Inland Revenue Services, that is the FIRS, to
Yeah.
register. Firstly, one thing you need to actually identify is to, like, okay, determine your category of business. What business do you go to? So it's if it's the individual, then you're a freelancer, you're a content creator. All right. So categorize your business. Categorize your business. And when you categorize your business, then you can know if it is individual or a registered business. A
Okay.
registered business, because there are many content creators today, there are many freelancers that do not have a rectified and a defined registered brand. So many of them do not have a registered brand whereby they have actually registered that. So if whether you are registered or not, you are, even as a personal business person, as a personal sole proprietor, you need to register, and you need to. So the steps today is to categorize it, whether it is individual or corporate. So after you've categorized that, the next step is to register online. Like I said, we have the FIRS portal, and
Yeah.
whereby you'll be asked to provide your personal details, your personal information, like your
Okay.
name, your date
Yeah.
of birth, your
Yeah.
residential address, your BVN in some cases, and after that you'll be able to you'll get all of the necessary verification. After all of those stuff verifies your BVN and your NIN, when there are no disparities of these two, then you'll be able to get your TIN. Then you submit. After submitting the basic details, after the verification, then your TIN is issued. And however, TIN can only be issued just once. You cannot have two TINs. All
Okay.
right, you can't have two TINs. Once you are being issued, you are issued for life. All right, so it's just like saying somebody having two BVN. You can't have two BVN. You can't have two NIN. At the same time, you can't have two TIN. All right, just like the way we have the NI. No. One thing that actually, sorry, I'm putting this in. One thing that makes TIN quite important is just that for us to follow suit in making compliance easy. The tax thing is not to choke us, all right? It's just for us to follow due process and all. So just like how the government track us with our NIN. So the FIRS, that is the Federal Inland Revenue Services, can also track your business via your TIN. So these are the very necessary. The steps is very simple. Any tax office any tax officials it's quite easy to register and you get your TIN once and for all. Thank you very
So
much.
can you do it independently, or you have to rely on the help of the tax official?
However, it's quite very important for those who are less knowledgeable about it. When you have any tax official near you, please consult any tax official to put you through and to guide you in the step-to-step ways of getting the TIN.
Yeah.
However, it's something that it's self
You can do
okay
it.
to do, where you can do it yourself. As long as you have your basic details, the basic information, you're good.
Okay, I have another question, but I'll come back to you. I want to ask Ose this. For an entrepreneur running multiple ventures, maybe has a design studio, has drop shopping store, has like different businesses, like as they be now streets, you are hustling. So like, does the law require you separate teams for each registered business, or a single personal income tax? Is a single personal income tax team sufficient?
So here's how it works. Yeah, you can have a single tax ID or personal income tax ID for yourself as an
Okay.
individual. If you have,
Okay.
no other business going on and all of that. If you have a registered business or a registered company and all of your business name under CAC, you need to have CIN for each business that is
Oh.
registered with CAC.
Oh.
You understand? Now, there are reasons why this is even a better idea for you. Now, in the instance where, you want to reduce taxes for yourself, the amount of taxes you're getting, it would be best for you to have this taxes be categorized under the different business names of the different companies with their respective tax ID and tax identification numbers, so that you can streamline your finances and say, okay, this particular entity received this sum, and this is what is taxable after the deduction of cost for that particular entity. It is never a good idea to try to use one particular tax ID across several business. It makes it will become an issue where the tax identity, when the tax agency wants to, ascertain your deductions, for example, deductions being, the amount of money that you are going to remove from for that is spent, or the cost that is spent in reaching that particular profit. You understand? Now, if you have everything almost under one thing, it becomes a problem, because you're
Yeah.
saying you have costs for one business, but you don't have cost for this other business. It creates a whole lot of issues for you. So it's best if you separate these things. If you have a business where you're freelancing, or you're doing something else, let us say, I don't know, if you're selling something, for example, you have a team for that. If you are a content creator on another part, you
Yeah.
have a particular business or a particular media company for that, you should have a team for that, just so that you can streamline and separate your income and be able to seek tax reliefs for each of them separately. Because if you model them up, the tax agency might tell you, these things are not particularly clear, and they might refuse to accept the deductions that they're trying to make. And then it also obviously makes auditing messier and stressful for your business. So it's better for you to have separate things for separate businesses as to go.
Okay, thank you. This is actually very insightful, because I'm learning a lot about, the tax laws and how it affects me as a freelancer and a small business owner. So if you're just joining, we're talking about the 2025 tax law, how it affects freelancers, small business owners. And I have here with me Osemudiamen, who's a lawyer, and Daniel, who is a relationship manager at Providus Bank. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop your question in the comment section. I think like in the next 20 or 30 minutes, we're going to open the floor for people to be able to join in and just drop their 2 cents. So I'm going to go to you, Daniel, and I'm just going to say, just give us tips, like tips for businesses with multiple income streams to register correctly. Also, I've spoken from the law angle as a lawyer. Is there anything that you feel like, anyone who has multiple streams of income or multiple stream businesses should take heed to while registering?
All right. Firstly, I need us to understand that many freelancers and creative earn from different sources, and it's completely fine. Just that the proper issue is disclosure. And what I mean is that, and whether you're having a multiple business as a sole proprietor, a freelancer, a content creator, you do not register multiple TIN. You just need one TIN, all right? And you just need to use the tips for business, like for like when you're actually having a multiple business kind of institute, you need to use a correct business description. When you're registering for your TIN, or you're registering a corporate account from the Corporate Affairs Commission, you need to be defined about. You need to have a definite description on your business. I think clarity is quite very important, because you can't tell me, for instance, now you are a content creator and let me just say a freelancer, you're into writing and you are opening a business and it's carrying food and stuff, or it's carrying any other thing outside what you do, basically. So it's going to cause confusion and it's going to cause, different things like that. So I would say also have a separate account. And this is where I come in fully. I'll have a separate account, one for individual and also one for corporate, because we can't be using two accounts and you'll be having some disparities and you don't know which one you are to use, you don't know which one is taxable, you don't know which one is not taxable, and you start taking from each and all. So if you're having a personal savings for yourself, open a personal savings account for yourself. But when it comes to your business account, separate the money on a different note. All right. So to open a business account, that is why you need to register your business. Register what you do on your CAC, so that when you register, you will be able to keep records of the things you do, of how you earn, of what are your taxable profits, or what are your business expenses. You'll be able to put track on everything. You'll be able to direct. You'll be able to, supervise. You are the manager of your business. No matter the HR you employ, no matter the executives you are the main manager of your business. It is your business, so you need to make sure you have a strategic way of monitoring the transaction in your account. However, you open a separate account for individual and one for business. So I think that is one of the major tips and all. For instance, in Providus Bank, we always advise our customers. We tell them that, all right, what are you into? Even if it's very easy for one person to say, I want to open an account with Providus, I want to open an account with Providus. We ask them, do you want to open a savings individual account, or you want to open a corporate account? Why? Because the reason why we are helping you so that you won't open a savings account, whereas it is mainly for your business. It's gonna come in. And when you now start seeing some deduction from the FIR, it's like, where is this coming from? So this is why these things are quite important. They are essential. Separate accounts so that for very good record keeping, and that's how it works.
Yeah, I think it's good because it helps you now keep track of your spending, your profits, and what you're earning. And let me just chip this in. If you want to register a business account, you can reach out to Daniel. He'll do it for you with Providus Bank. I know that it was Daniel that did mine with Providus Bank. So if you want to register a business account, at the end of the session, I'm going to ask Daniel and Osemudiamen to share their email address. Also, if you want to do your CAC, Osemudiamen will definitely handle that for you. So, Osemudiamen, I'm going to go to you now. I'm going to ask you, how does the law legally define profits? Especially for freelancers, for us that, our income is like this, as small business owner. How does the law legally define profits?
Okay, so I'll give you a very simple formula for defining profits. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so What constitutes taxable income basically is revenue minus allowable expense. That's what equals into taxable profits. That means you are not taxed on your gross income. You are taxed on what's left after all legitimate business cost has been removed. That means there's how it starts. Yeah, you have your business capital, money you invest in, you reinvest in equipment, inventory, software. That's not personal income. You have your operating expense, money you spend on, internet, workspace, professional services. These things still amounts to costs and they're still deductible. What classifies as taxable income for a freelancer, for anybody, anyways, is the actual money you take home as profit out of all of this. So, if you, for example, if you invoice 500,000 naira, but like you said earlier, but you spend 200,000 naira on business costs, for example, you're only taxed on that 300,000, the remaining 300,000, and not the full 500. So when you are assessing yourself, you pull up, you say, okay, you earned 500,000 naira altogether. However, 200,000 naira out of that 500,000 naira constituted costs, constituted, funds that you used in maintaining your equipment. It constituted funds that you use in sustaining the business. You understand, in the short run, within the time frame. It's not forever, so you cannot claim, sums that just go within that time period. You have to put a clear distinction, a clear definition of these things that constituted cost to your business, and whatever is remaining is what will now become taxable under the applicable tax brackets. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's very simple. I think, Daniel, do you want to add something to it? Because the next question I'm supposed to ask you is similar to what I've asked or said. So I've spoken from a lawyer perspective. Do you want to speak from a tax person perspective?
Okay, so what I would just say concerning that, because he actually explained everything, like he said, because one of the things that determines these things are, your take home. Yeah, I always call it take home because it's after everything has been deducted. For instance, for 9 to 5 workers, now when you receive your offer letter in any job you go to, and in the offer letter there are some of your salaries are structured in those letters are the things that you're expected to get at the end of the month, at the end of the year. So at the next paragraph, you're going to see the net take home after everything has been deducted from the tax, from the your whole savings and the likes. So after all of these things, that's just same thing that applies to business too. Business, you're as a business owner, you are the one to write your offer letter yourself. You are going to set everything. Well, after removing your capitals, your business expense, from everything you have done, then whatever is left should remain the taxable profit, which is that main thing that we should focus on dwell in.
Is there like anything, a way that how should income and expenses for multiple revenues be tracked for compliance? Like, is there any other, like, because when you are earning from different places, how do you now merge everything for compliance?
How to measure everything, it's quite easy because that is why I mentioned earlier, good record keeping. Good record keeping. It's okay as a content creator, as a freelancer to have multiple source of income.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's well. However, it's definite because all of it still attached to one tax identification number. All right. So it's very easy for you to track your records using some accounting softwares, the Microsoft Excels, where you could actually get to see all your profits and loss, all your things that you've done. So after all of these things, you can easily track where tax is coming from. I think I appreciate if lawyer could actually do justice and whatever percentage that all of these freelancers, content creators should expect when they want to actually, okay, what should be the expectation at the end of the year? What is the amount that should be deducted? Because some are actually very confused, like, oh, is it 5% I should be expecting? Is it 10%? If me and my neighbor are doing the same thing, should we expect the same amount of percentage that should be deducted from this tax? And no, I think we should actually also clear that too. It's quite important. However, keeping track record of everything you do. Accountancy, accountability is quite key to all of these things. So that's how it works.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So I'm going to go to you. I think this question is very important. Please, if you're just joining, thank you for joining. We're talking about the Nigerian tax law and how it affects freelancers, business owners, creatives. If you're in the entertainment industry, tech industry, how does it affect you? If you maybe have a remote job, how does it affect you? And I have here with me Osemudiamen, who's a lawyer, and Daniel Ibitola, who is also a relationship manager at Providus Bank. If you have any question, please feel free to use the comment section, ask your question, and then in a few minutes we're going to open the event so other people can join in, and if you have anything to say, you can just add to it. So I'm going to ask you this now. With the rise of digital assets like cryptocurrency, does Nigerian Tax Act 2025 classify cryptocurrency, NFTs, high value equipment as chargeable assets? Did you hear me, sir?
I'm sorry, I am muted. I heard everything you said. I was muted. Okay. So prior to this tax act, the Nigerian government had always been skeptical about digital assets, which is basically cryptocurrencies and NFTs and Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of that. But recently they lifted that ban, and in lifting that ban, they also made sure to put provisions in place to ensure that these currencies become taxable. There's a framework that there's an entire system in place to track these things. However, yes, digital assets are now traceable. Now, for the purpose of this meeting and under the law, digital assets are broken into two parts, basically, which is cryptocurrency and high-valued equipment, high-value digital equipment. Now, cryptocurrency is taxable, and what the tax that comes under it is known as CGT, which is capital gains tax. Now, when you sell crypto for profit, the gains that you make or the profits that you make is subject to capital gains tax as long as the amount of that profit is within the taxable threshold. I keep on talking about the taxable threshold because we've been talking about people getting taxed, and people might be scared that, hey, I'm a small-time trader and I'm not making a whole lot of money. Why am I getting taxed? But if your profit doesn't reach a particular threshold that we'll discuss later on, you will be exempted from this tax requirement. However, if you sell your crypto, if you buy cryptocurrency for example, and you sell it at a profit that will fall within the margin of taxation, you will be taxed for it. However, if you sell your crypto at a loss, you're already losing money, and the government is not trying to impoverish you, so they will let you have that and recover from it. Then the other aspects of what constitute digital assets are high valued equipment, stuff that coordinates, that assists for your digital business. For example, cameras, studio gear, servers, high quality computers, computer equipment. These things are considered digital assets. Now, when you sell these things for more than the price at which you bought them in the first place, the gain is also subject to CGT. However, if you sell them for less, which is considered a normal depreciation, then there's actually no CGT that can be taxable from it. So majority of the time, you need to keep records of what you paid for assets and what you sold them for. The difference matters for tax purposes. So if you buy a particular asset at let us say an equipment for a particular price, it will be in your best interest to keep your receipts or at least proof of payments for that to keep the price of the property in place. If you sell, you should also keep a record of that sales so that it can establish the price, so that in the instance when you want to file your taxes, you can say this is how much I made from the sales of this equipment or from the sales of this cryptocurrency, and this is how much is chargeable on top of it. So yes, under the Nigerian tax law, now to answer your question, digital assets are taxable now. It's a new thing, and I think we should be mindful of these new developments in the tax law.
Thank you for that very detailed answer. I mean, I'm learning so much because I for one don't really know much about this tax law, and when I don't know something, I just like to create an event about it because I know there are other people who don't know about it. So Daniel, I'm going to go over to you. What are the steps to file annual tax returns for freelancers, for creatives, to small business owners?
Sure. Can you repeat what you said, please? Steps two.
Say again. The steps to file
Okay.
annual tax returns. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. To find
Yeah.
annual text, like I said
Yeah.
earlier, I think I was repeating it in the course of my previous explanations. So,
Yeah.
to file all of these things, like I said, as a business owner, to make things easy for you, because I'm coming on a very simpler terms, and these are things I also explain to my customers as a banker to make things easier. All right. I would say you should consult a tax official that you're very close to, or your account officer. Your account officer should be knowledgeable about all of these things. I as an account officer, as a relationship manager, we try to make sure our customers are vast in all of this knowledge, in all of these things to ensure sustainability, credibility, and accountability. So, like I said, also get some software that will help you to be able to track all of these records together. The use of Microsoft Excel too can never be overestimated. You can use that to also get your whole, your whole track record from day one and all. And I feel with that, you'll be able to get the reasons why where these stacks are going from and where they're coming from at the same time.
Okay, so I want to ask you something. I know we had this conversation, I think yesterday, about the amount at the end of the year that can be, like, there's some people who are taxable, like, there's a particular amount you have to earn that will now require them to. Do you get the question where I'm going to? So I want to
Yes.
ask you again to now, in case there are people here who do not know, you know, how much it is they need to be earning for them to be taxable.
Okay, yeah, according to the 2025 tax reforms laws that came out on law, so you're taxable when you are above 1 million naira to some extent, if you, with kind of business you do. All right, when you're below 1 million, you are not meeting the threshold of tax of the tax official. Well, you're not taxable to that. So when you're now the 1 million I'm not talking about the whole business expense. I'm not talking about the gross profit.
The profit.
So I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
should be very clear. That should be
Mhm.
very clear. So for instance, you can earn 1 million and you are still not taxable because from the 1 million, when you have actually deduct all the business expense, if your taxable profit remains 700,000, you are not taxable. So if you're earning and you're just the taxable profit when it is above 1 million, we should be taxed with a particular percentage. We have lots of the reforms of the kind of business that follows suit with this amount and I feel as time goes on, the government will make it more clear and more clear to especially business owners, freelancers, content creators on how they charge on this tax.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that if your profit, that's like the money that is for you at the end of
Yes,
the year,
your
is up to
net.
1 million naira, you are taxable. That's
Yes, you
very
are.
interesting. Thank you for making that clear. Please, if you have any question, feel free to leave it in comment section and we'll answer. So also let me go to you now. Under the self-assessment regime, the taxpayers act the taxpayers act as a judge of their own liability. What legal protection exists for a freelancer who makes an honest error in their assessment versus one who willfully underdeclares?
Okay. So obviously this especially this new style of self assessment, there will be people who make a lot of errors. In that instance, I would say I'll divide the two kinds of errors or the two kinds of instances where somebody might file might make the wrong files. I might say I would like to call it, say, honest errors and then willful under declarations.
For under
Do you
declaration. Yeah.
So you are frozen.
It's a network glitch from
His
his side.
network, yeah, his internet is flickering. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's just continue the conversation. I don't know, Daniel, if you have anything to add to what I have asked Ose. Like if there are, I know you're not a lawyer, but I mean, while Ose joins, are there any consequences for late and inaccurate filings?
Okay, just from the tax official point of view, all
Yes.
right, I would say the implications are actually what I have witnessed as a relationship manager, as an account officer, without
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. Because if anything goes wrong, and there is no way the government, the FIRS, could actually track what was going on without you having TIN. And this is why it is quite essential and important for you to register early. This is quite important for you to register early. And as you're having your business, you have your TIN. Okay,
Yeah.
let me give an example. Let me give an example.
Yeah.
Okay, there's some like there is when we open accounts for instance for real estate agents, for people into jewelries, for people into a non-governmental organization,
Yeah.
and so there's something we require to open this kind of accounts. We call it a SCUMO. A SCUMO certificate. A SCUMO certificate is that certificate that certify you that you ain't using that account for any money laundering or for
Mm.
anything that has to do with financial crimes. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So now, when you have that certificate, if anything goes wrong in that account, probably there was a fraudulent transaction in that account, the account can be tracked successfully with the help that you provided a school certificate. So that has given you a justice that yes, you are free from anything that has to do with money laundering or any financial crime. So your TIM too is quite important too. If they are not all of these things put in check, if anything goes wrong with your business, I think it's actually good. And also, let me add this. Let me add this. One thing that makes this quite important to this all of this registration and all is the fact that it also gives you access to loans. You might want to access loans to grow your business. You might want to access loans to develop your capital. And these things could help too because your TIN will be asked. It's even one of the major requirements as a corporate account
Yeah.
to actually have that.
Yeah.
So
So you have that now. If you want to request loan, you need a TIN. Also, do you want to like answer the question?
Yeah, sorry, I lost network halfway through.
I
It was
know, we're in
ridiculous.
Nigeria.
Airtel will do things to Anyways, so I was going on about what would constitute, an honest error when you make mistakes in filing. Say maybe you make a miscalculation,
Yeah.
so or maybe you misunderstand what's deductible. Maybe you over declare stuff as costs, or maybe you omitted some income.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what you may be required to do in that instance, you will be required to pay the correct tax,
Mm-hmm.
probably plus interest, but probably with a bit of penalty if it goes on for too long. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? But if it is clear that it was an honest mistake without any overt intention behind it,
Yeah.
then it's fine. You shouldn't have the FIRS shouldn't come after you with criminal charges or whatever. However, in the instance where it constitutes criminal evasion, now what constitutes criminal evasion? Where you deliberately hide income. Maybe you
Yeah.
make money from somewhere and you refuse to
Yeah.
declare it. Or
Yeah.
maybe you create false records, fake records, or you claim fake expenses. You tell the government that you purchased you undertook costs that you did not, just so as you can reduce what is taxable. And if that is found out, it constitutes criminal evasion, and you really shouldn't do that. That's tax evasion pure and simple, and that will create a lot of problems for you. And then if you refuse to file as a whole, if you refuse to file your tax returns as a whole, that's still considered criminal evasion because you're a taxable person. Even if that's why I would advise anybody, even if you didn't make any money that year from your business or from your freelancing or from your PIT, at the end of the year, you ought to still file your tax returns, still do an assessment, declare that 0 naira. You understand, and file it before the 31st of March of the following year. Unless
Mm.
not filing it at all, even if you made 0 naira, will be considered, criminal evasion, and then we'll put you up for prosecution, we'll put you up for fines, we'll put you up for back taxes that you obviously did not earn and stuff like that. So while minor mistakes, genuine miscalculations might be understood to be small errors, misunderstanding what a deductible is, for example, might be let go with basically a slap on the wrist. Um, Deliberately hiding incomes, creating false records, creating fake expenses, refusing to file as a whole. That's all criminal evasion. That's criminal tax evasion, and that is where the tax authorities will really come for you. Now, if there's the way to ensure that you don't make these mistakes, you don't make these honest errors is keep good records. Like Daniel said, keep good records all the time. Write everything down. Use softwares out there that allows you to, keep track of this thing. As the income is coming in, you place it there. Beside it, you put your what constitutes cost for that particular income that, and then, you make the necessary deduction so that at the end of the year, you have all your files, all your docs in a row, and then you are not having to, try to remember what you earned or what you spend or what constitutes cost. Then there's also the aspect of filing on time. Even if the numbers aren't perfect, file. And so when you file, even if your numbers aren't perfect, you can always come back and claim that, okay, I just filed just so that I'll be on time. However, there are a bit of there are some mistakes that you made. The authorities also understand that as long as it's minor. And then another issue is, when the tax authorities call on you, please respond to them. You see, I understand Nigerians have a fear factor where, if FIRS sends you an official letter, even me as a lawyer, when I was in-house, when we receive tax letters from FIRS or from LIRS, the legal department just starts to run around because, it creates a problem. They're claiming that we did not tax this. But regardless of how bad the content of that request or that communication is from tax authorities, respond. Don't evade, don't, dodge it, don't delay, because, delaying it further compounds the situation. So just respond and say, okay, you've noticed, you've taken, you've acknowledged their communication to you, that you're going to consult with your tax lawyers or your tax consultants or your tax advisors or your bank manager, and then, you give a proper response after that. But at least acknowledge from the very beginning. The intent is to make sure that you are not seen as dodging the tax process, because obviously the name tax evasion, it shows that. So anything that looks like you're dodging it, it becomes a problem for you. I hope that clears it out.
Yeah, it's so detailed. Thank you very much. And we're going to round up soon. Danny, I want to say this. I want to ask you, what are proof of payment or documentation needed for compliance? Is there any specific um, proof of payment or documentation that you need?
Okay, your proof of payment for your tax compliance, all right. Like I said, if your business is legit and you're not hiding anything, and you are keeping track of everything that is in due process, just like what lawyer said earlier, I was about to even coming to say more on that actually. So, for instance, when let me first of all answer that question. When you want to have any proof of identification or proof of things, documents that your TIN, like I said, it's quite very important. It's a proof that okay, this is what you have done. Also, your financial declaration too is quite important to see. And when you are when you've done every of your profit and loss, you've done the balancing, you've done the accountancy, you've done the all of things. I think that should be enough proof that yes, you are good to go. But let me just quickly dive into what he said earlier, and I think it's quite empirical that our viewers should actually get to know. He spoke about some criminal invasion. This thing happens even in banks. Okay, I'll just want to dive this in. As a bank, it is expected that every year, at the beginning of every year, at the beginning of the year, you have to drop a financial declaration of of every of your profit and loss from last year. All right. So there's a particular event that happened last year, no, upper year actually, of a particular bank, which I'm not going to mention. So this bank was caught declaring declaring profit from where it wasn't meant to be. Like they were declaring profit from another source, whereas it was not meant to be recorded. And that it's actually a criminal invasion. I think the bank was fined for about a lot of billions of naira. They have to remove from their profit. I know. So even as a business owner, for instance, now you're a content creator, people know you to be someone who speak online, who entertains online, and you are receiving profit from import and export. There's something fishy there. So if you are declaring funds there, it could actually cause some lot of implications that could actually not be good for you, not good for your business, and not even healthy for you. So it's quite empirical as a business owner. Be very specific and be very defined. Like I said earlier, when I was trying to explain something about your category, to define your category of the business you do, be very definite, be specific. Reason being that it is whatever thing that is on your CAC in a limited company for the limited account, there's something we call memats. Your memats are what it's like a description of what of everything you do with the business. So, if, for instance, my name is Daniel. Now, if I have Daniel and Sons Limited PLC, so that my memats would show that this is what I am into. If I'm into import and export, if I'm into mining, if I'm into real estate and all. So when my memat shows, so and it is expected that I should receive funds, I should receive profits from whatever thing that is in my memat, not something outside of my memat. So, as a business owner, as a content creator or a freelancer, all of these things, your profit should be definite. Anything outside what you're doing is considered as criminal invasion. So, I think it's quite important that we actually learn from that too. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been a very insightful session. I've learned so much, honestly, and I'm sure that our viewers have learned a lot. We're going to end soon in about 8 minutes. So if you have any questions, please just wave your hands or drop an emoji or something, or just drop a comment, because you're going to miss out on this in 8 minutes. So before we go, I'm going to say this. I'm going to ask the speakers to give an advice each to anyone intimidated by taxes or overwhelmed by compliance. So just say one or two things to anyone who has joined this session, who is still intimidated and feels like it's overwhelming.
Okay. Yeah. So I would like to go first.
Yes, please go ahead. I think Costa is frozen in. The internet is really
Before Tech comes in, let me quickly answer that.
okay. Yes.
I think I am more closer to customers than OCs because it's mostly found in the courts and he's judging my lord. But I want to say this from the point of view as a relationship manager. First thing, this tax thing doesn't need to be scary. Doesn't need to be scary.
Yeah.
You don't need anybody to oppress you. You don't need anybody to make you feel intimidated about it. It doesn't need to be scary. One thing is that the first thing you should do is to start small. Do not wait for perfection. Start small. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait until it booms, until you become Dangote, until you just start small. Also, ask questions. Ask guidance. Ask questions. I have a particular customer that I'm managing his account. He's into oil and gas, and I love him for one thing. He's very inquisitive. Very inquisitive. He will call me early in the morning. Daniel, Alpha, what's the market saying today? Alpha, what's the thing? He asks questions. I remember as we were shouting Happy New Year, Happy New Year, I called him. So Happy New Year, Happy New Year. The first thing this man told me is that, Alpha, this thing they said about tax, what's up with it? He has started asking questions. Ask questions, seek guidance, and also focus on honesty and consistency. Focus on that. It's very, very important, very key. Focus on honesty, focus on consistency. All right. And remember, compliance is a journey. It's a journey. It's not a one-time event. It's not something that you must do at once. You don't have to get everything right at once. All right. It's a journey. You don't need to be perfect. All right. Even the big companies we have in Nigeria are still keeping track of compliance. So they are still making sure that they are compliant. So the tax system is just, I will end with this. The tax system is just to support growth, not to punish effort.
Yeah, thank you for dropping that.
It's just to support growth. It's to support your growth for your business, to make sure your business is good, no issues, no backlash, just to make sure that you are all good and fine. It is not to punish your effort, all right? So the government is not after your
They
struggle,
are not
after
after
your
your life. It's not an
they're not
attack.
after your life. It's not choky. All right.
It's not
So
an
that's what I'm
attack.
saying. Most
Okay.
importantly, please take guidance. Thank you.
Thank you. Osemudiamen. Ose, can you hear me? I think Ose is still frozen. Oh my. Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel, and thank you to everyone who has joined in. So, Daniel, do you want to say something about anyone who wants to create an account with Providus Bank? Maybe you want to create a small business account, something. Anyone who has interest, you want to just talk about it.
All
Why?
right. Thank you so much for this
Why is it
opportunity.
so?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Providus Bank supports SME business. Like we support that so much. We take you like our own. Giving you a unique customer experience is what we are after in Providus Bank. And to open an account with us, it's quite easy. And you don't even need to come to the bank physically to do everything. Everything can be done via a phone conversation online as long as you're submitting your documents after we've done the verification and the checks at the comfort of your home. You can send mails, you can do everything. So to open a business account, like I said, as long as you have your complete CAC documents, if it's a limited account, you have your MEMAT, your status report, your TIN, very important, that's the soul of this conversation, your TIN and all of these things. After that, we'll generate an account number for you to between 1 or 2 working
Yeah.
days, then we profile you and you keep transacting free of charge. I think the host is going to drop my number and my mail where you can contact me anytime to open an account, to
Yeah.
have business conversation about this thing. Even outside this life, we can actually have more conversation to that. So I look
Yeah.
forward to your messages and to your mails.
Yeah. So do you want to drop your email address or phone number? Because like even after this live, I'm gonna post it so that people who didn't make it for this live can watch it. So in case
All
they're
right.
listening, you might want to drop that.
All right. So for my mail address, you can mail me at dibitola1 at providusbank.com. I repeat, dibitola1 at providusbank.com. Then my personal phone number is 080 641 53378. I repeat, 080 641 53378. Reach out to me at all times. I'm here to pick your calls. I'm here to attend. I'm a relationship manager. And like I said, as a manager, we keep relationship, we sustain
Yeah.
relationship, and we make sure relationships are more effective and productive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, very insightful, session. And also, I mean, I've been using Providus for like 2 years and I didn't even have to go in. I just called, yeah. Oh, I think Ose is back. So I just called and, I was able to get my business account open for me. Ose, so do you have anything to say, like a final note? Because we're like two
Yeah,
minutes out.
I was going on about. Sorry, I lost network again, and I had trouble connecting to
Yes,
my
I
Wi-Fi.
know. I know. I know.
Um, Yeah, so basically, I was saying advice for taxes, keep your records, register your TIN, track your income and expenses, and then file annually. Then I would advise people to always get a tax consultant, an accountant, or if at the very least, if it's too expensive, go on the FIRS website or the NRS website and, educate yourself about the things that you need to do. Now, the moment you carry out the first filing, subsequent ones start to fall in place and then it becomes easier from then. So, but I always tell people, compliance is important. You do not want to evade things or say, oh, this is too complex. What's even going to happen? And then, you might forget about it. And then the end of the year comes, the next taxable period comes in and you are receiving letters from FIRS and you're trying to remember what you didn't file. So at the very least, just keep a record, keep a record of everything that comes in, everything that you spend on, and every reasonable deductible that you make. And then I'm pretty sure it should be straightforward from there. If there are any confusions, reach out to me, reach out to a tax consultant, reach out to a tax lawyer, and then I'm pretty sure we can guide you on the specific things you need to do step by step and every step of the way.
Great, great. Thank you. Do you want to share your email address and do you want to like just talk about what services that you offer? I
Okay,
know you're a lawyer, you're not supposed to advertise yourself per se, but
okay.
as
So
a small business
basically,
owner, what would I need a lawyer for?
okay.
So, or a
So
freelancer. What would I need a lawyer for?
Well, you need a lawyer for a lot of things, as a freelancer, as a small business owner. But as a freelancer, basically, you're going to be getting into a lot of easy and quick employments with other businesses who need freelancers, or with other businesses or other individuals who need your services. So I would always advise that you get a lawyer to vet the contract that you're given. You know, you get a lawyer to check the terms. You get a lawyer to check the liability, to protect you, because majority of the time, to I don't want to use the word mere mortals, but to everyday people, a contract might seem very straightforward, but majority of the time, certain words imply certain things that are not so obvious on the face of it. So you need a lawyer at that particular point in time to, to look at these things for you. That there are a lot of contracts that you might get involved in. You might get involved. You might say you're a digital guy and you want to get cloud services, for example. You might need that contract checked. You might want to get employed by a foreign entity. You will need that contract checked. You need to check. You need to see whether you're being given a contract that aligns, that is just specifically made for Nigerians, or whether it is made in line with international standards. So you need to check all those things. And then you also need to check whether you are registered as an entity. So it's obviously, before you get a TIN, you have to be registered. Your business has to be registered as, as an entity. I carry out CAC registrations, both pre-incorporation and post-incorporation. Post-incorporation comes in when you want to change things to your business setup and all of that. I'm also engaged in that. And then, at least in respect of freelancers and small businesses, there's also the corporate structuring that I do for startups and companies, majority of the time. That's my bread and butter. That's where I'm focused on tech startups and all of that. So in such an instance, I'm also into corporate restructuring, or corporate structuring from the get-go. Restructuring, if you need to change your shareholders, if you need to bring in more shareholders, if you need to bring in investors, that's where you require my services, and I'm always open to help. So I think I'd rather prefer to I don't know whether I need to read out my phone number or if I need to communicate it later on.
Yes, because
Okay,
I'm still going to share this, so people.
Yeah, I prefer if you share. I prefer if you share it, just to be compliant with RPC and all of that. So I prefer if you just share rather than just me saying, okay, but it will be better if you just share it. It will be much more
I'll
compliant.
most likely just, when I repost it, I'll just share your.
Yeah, when you repost, I'll speak with you on how to go about that, so that none of us is getting into trouble.
Okay. I know you guys, lawyers and stuff. Thank you so much for joining, because we're already 3 minutes way ahead of time. Thank you so much for this session. I really enjoyed it, and thank you to everyone. We had over 36 people join this session, so that's something. So I'm very grateful to everyone who joined. I'm going to upload this on YouTube so that people who missed out can watch, and maybe you dropped off at some point, you can watch again, or maybe you feel like, oh, you missed out something, you can watch again. So thank you so much, Daniel, Vitola. Thank you, Osemudiamen. I'm not going to call your son, so I don't know what Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you for the time. I've learned so much. And I'm sure every other person has learned too.
All right. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
You too. Thank you.